No.
Oh,
hello. Welcome back to Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast. It is very lovely to have you guys all with us. Thank you very much. So, what have you guys been up to recently? Had any exciting fish news to share with the class?
Share the class. You know, it's funny.
No.
Every week you ask us the same question. Every week, I'm like, shit, what have I done all week long?
Yeah, it'd be a shame if someone was to prep for this episode.
the most exciting thing that I done this week in the fish room is I cleaned every single filter and all the glass. So, yeah, and vacuumed the gravel and stuff. So the tanks all look nice and clean, and I can see the fish. So
Wow, who would have thought that would be important, eh?
it took about 6 hours, 8 hours over the weekend. So yeah, there's a lot of tanks in there and a lot of fish. I also replaced all that airline that we talked about.
Oh yeah, so that all works now.
Yeah. Well, the black airline, I was using black irrigation airline from Bunnings, and it got really hard and kept falling off the top of the filters. So most days when I went into feed, I was going and trying to push these bloody things back on, and they wouldn't stick and stuff. So Cam gave me a whole bunch of old offcuts that he had when he was getting rid of the store. So I just went through and chucked all them on the filters so they don't fall off anymore.
Nice.
And just adjust all the flow on all of them, get them all going, and
Isn't that such a
sort of stuff?
Isn't that such a fish keeper thing to do? Have old offcuts of airline just hanging around and random bits.
Well, no, I asked Cam specifically for it. He was probably going to be he's probably going to throw it all out because it's just little random bits that he used in the store. And I was like, well, it saves me buying it. It saves him throwing it out.
I'm a magpie. I'll take it all.
What's that?
I said, you're a magpie. You'll take it all and add it to your all your bits and pieces. Because I bet all the offcuts that you cut, you still kept as well.
Well, I used them, but yeah, mostly.
All the ones you've kept all the excess stuff out.
Yeah.
That's fish keeper 101. You just never throw stuff out.
I did not use all of it.
Being a fish keeper.
I've still got the brand new roll sitting there.
Oh, nice. Well, because I've also got another full bucket filled with it, like more bits. So you'll have a never-ending supply of the stuff, I'm sure.
Cool. Sweet.
So yeah, no, that's good stuff. What have you been up to, Kevin?
Yeah.
I also found that I hate Hamburg. I like Hamburg Madden filters, but I hate Hamburg Madden filters.
Cleaning them.
When you pull them out of the tank, all the crap just goes into the tank, and then you can't see the fish. And then when you go to put it back in the corner, you're worried that you're squashing a fish in behind it because you can't see in the tank because it's just murk.
Yeah.
But I was astounded by the weight of the sponge. Like it was really bloody heavy with crap.
Yeah. Do you just then when you hosed it out and then put it back, is it
lighter,
noticeable how different it is?
Significantly lighter. Yeah, there would have been kgs of stuff in it. You know, it was you know, but I had to rinse it in 3 buckets, a 3-stage rinse to get it to sort of clean.
I suppose that's one of the dangers of not cleaning your filter for 6 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, those ones haven't been cleaned for at least a year or two, and they've been stocked pretty heavy.
So maybe next time.
That's how they're designed to work, though. Like they're designed not to be cleaned on a regular basis. They're a full-on set and forget and walk away and come back another year or so later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're designed to be fairly
robust.
Fairly robust and fairly just.
Can you describe to people who might be listening who don't know what that is, who've never encountered them, what you're talking about, what it looks like, how it works, all that kind of thing?
A Hamburg Madden filter is essentially an air-powered filter that you stick along one edge of your tank or one corner of your tank, and you make little uplifters to suck air or suck water through it. So it's very hard to describe without pictures, this one.
It's like a giant sponge
filter, but you kind of make it make a little uplifter with a little angle on it that spits the water over the top and as a result it's sucking the water through it, or creating a negative pressure behind it and sucking all the crap through it. You know, usually you have little bits of glass silicone on your tank to jam it in there.
Yeah.
Mark down in Tauranga uses them in all his tanks and all of his breeder tanks, and they're amazing. He uses quarter ones.
They're really
From
cool,
all-
and
From
the
all
main
accounts,
benefit, I
they're
reckon, is
ridiculously good.
Yeah, they are.
yeah, and they look a lot nicer. I reckon, isn't like, you know, it's basically a sponge filter that looks better in your tank. So,
And I noticed
you
that the
can go
Java fern in the tank had gone and stuck into it and was growing up it and stuff, which was quite cool. So you could actually grow a plant wall on them if you wanted to.
It's got the ability to hide your heaters like a sump as well, which is another bonus. Like if you get like a darker color filtration sponge, it blends in a lot better than like an internal filter or a hideous sponge filter with a heater hanging around.
Well, if you did the corner ones, you could probably put a heater behind it if you wanted to.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that your
Why
next
ones?
challenge, Ryan? Growing a
What's that?
plant wall with a hidden heater and all this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I've managed to perfect the art of a Java moss a 20 centimeter deep Java moss carpet. So
Yeah.
you know, it was
On
a
to the
goal of
next
mine.
thing.
I pulled some of that Java moss out, so the fish can actually swim now. By the way,
Oh, nice. That's good.
and they were
Seems
quite
overrated.
grateful for the space. They were quite grateful for the space.
I can imagine. Wouldn't you be?
No, they seem to. I thought, you know, you guys tell me plants are good, and you know, that's kind of my thing. So I just, you know, let them go for it.
You're a
Yeah.
plant growing guru.
How about you, Cam? What have you had going on recently?
I'm going to let this one go past to the keeper. I've been quite sick for the last week, so I'm trying to work out what I've done, but I literally was just making sure I managed to stay alive every day at work.
Oh,
So I
well,
think that's why I can't really think of much I've done. I spent a solid 3 days just sitting in my office on the computer doing computer stuff throughout the day. So, yeah.
well, that's a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
Not mad, just disappointed.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll let it pass. For me, what have I done? I went to the other day we went to Thames overnight to visit some of my partner's family, and while we were there, we went for this like big bush walk, and at like the start of it,
Bush walk.
I was funny guy. At the start of it, I was saying
There was
about
there was definitely only two things that we used to go for bushwalks for.
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's
And
Not
yeah,
normally with your
degenerate.
family. You're degenerate.
One of them was definitely to enjoy some greenery.
That is illegal.
Yes,
But
anyway,
but as we were going, I was I don't know, somehow it came up in conversation. We're talking about those little the little freshwater crayfish. Like we briefly talked about them, and then maybe like 2 minutes later, we're walking, and there's this little creek down to the right, and I looked down, and it was like obviously like crystal clear water, like maybe like 80 centimeters deep, and like right in the middle of this thing of sand, there's just this one of those freshwater crayfish just sitting there, just like, I don't know, like staring at us basically, it seemed like. And it was so like, because it was on like white sand pretty much, it was so outlined because it's like obviously like black/dark brown, so like contrast made it real easy to see, and it was just like right there. And I like looked down and we were like, oh my god. And then, you know, it's kind of like, is that real? Like, what's going on there? Is it alive or anything? And then there was like a rock, like maybe 10 centimeters off to the left. And as it saw us like kind of just standing there, I guess, it started like creeping over towards this rock, and then it just sat on this rock to like blend in. But it was such a cool thing to see, because I've never seen any in the wild before. Like I've seen them in people's tanks and stuff, but never in the wild. If you're interested, people should definitely like Google a picture because they're such cool little things. Like
Koru or something like that.
yeah,
Cora.
yeah.
Cora, yeah.
But yeah, it's like maybe, I don't know, size of your hand roughly. But yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I've
and
never
it was
actually
funny.
seen them wild, eh?
You know,
Yeah, I'd never seen them before either. But
Actually, I've never seen an awful lot of any native fish in the wild, to be honest. The only thing I've really seen is trout.
that's
You know, and
because
that's
when
what
you used to go on bushwalks, you weren't really looking for wildlife. Well, that sort of wildlife.
yeah, we were staring off into different spaces.
not good enough.
Hey,
But there
something's
was
come up.
also
Something's come up to me in that conversation. Is it
good stuff.
aims or is it themes?
Is what?
Where did you go?
Thames.
Thames. Is it Thames or is it Thames? Because it's
I'm
spelled
just
TH.
gonna. Yeah, but it's
So is
Thames.
it really though?
Yes.
It's not THEMES, is it? It's themes.
Well, how is it spelled? I
It
always
is
thought it
not
was
themes.
Thames. I always thought it was Thames.
THAMES.
So it's Thames.
No.
But that's it'll be how you spell Thames. THAM. Thames.
Look, man, I didn't name the place, but that's what it's
Thames will
called.
be TEMS. Yeah, but lots of things are called stuff and wrong.
You do realise that Cam is also ESOL. He's English as a second language, so we can't trust any of his pronunciation.
Which
And
Cam?
you think you can pronounce it? Believe my C?
His first language is Neanderthal.
Well, both of you, yeah. I was thinking his is Neanderthal, and
It's
So-
truly it's Thames. It's TH. It's got to be Thames, not Thames.
Well,
Because
what you
Thames
can
like
send him.
Timawera Morrison. It's TEM.
Do you know I used to always see him? Do you know I used to always see him at the chemist next to my shop?
Nice.
Because
Nice.
was he buying like medical stuff because he beat his wife?
To be honest, I didn't ask him. I was just like, oh my god, that's like the most interesting thing that's happened all week, and then moved on with my life. So yeah,
Obviously, still stuck with you though, is an important sort of thing.
yeah, man. But
Yeah,
no, that was basically the most exciting thing that happened to me. And we also saw some eels and stuff, so that was fun. Saw some birds. What more could you want, really? Good times. So yeah, I guess
Did you have anything else happen this week?
no, not
Are
really.
you sure?
Did you have any deliveries?
Oh, was that? Oh, fuck. I thought that was the week previous or something. So it must have been quite early in the week. But what was I doing? Oh, I was at my dad's house, helping out with some housework that he had, or like yeah. And I was just like doing my thing, and I get this phone call, and it's from Renee, and so I'm like, oh,
Who's Renee?
oh, Renee's my girlfriend, and so I was like, what's up, basically. And she was saying like, oh, she and her dad were standing because they've been working on her van, and so they were like standing there like doing something related to a van, and then the courier showed up, and so they were like, oh hey, how's it going, whatever. And then the dude kind of walks up and he's like, is like kind of giggling and stuff, and he's like, oh, I've got a delivery for, and he said our address, and then they're like, oh, like what person's it for? And so he like kind of looked at it, and then like looked up, and then like looked at it, and then like looked up, and like kind of giggled, and then he just goes, it's for ball bag. And then they had no idea, and so they're just looking at it like, what the hell, who's this for? And they're like, what's the address? And then it was like, our address, and like, it must be for us. And so they're like, oh, whatever. And then the courier walks off, and he's like, they can hear him like laughing to himself and all this kind of thing. And they're like looking at this thing like, what the hell's going on here? And then they on those little bags, they like turn it over, and you can see who the sender is. And they're like, the sender is the fish room from whatever your address is in Nelson. And they're like, oh, this must be for Cam. And so they're like, ring me. And they're like, did Cam send you something for ball bag? And I was like, oh yeah, that will be him. Because I bought some more food for Frank, basically. So it was only like a little thing. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Everyone was like, "What the hell's going on here?" And that's what it
enjoyed it.
was. Yeah, because like I don't know if we've discussed it before, but whenever packages get sent between the three of us, generally it's not the name of the person who's receiving it. Like Cam
You
has
usually
had
write
stuff.
encouraging or motivating sort of names on it.
Yeah, like I've sent stuff to Cam for
Uplift,
David Warner before, which is funny. Or
uplifting stuff. You know, and
yeah,
sometimes there's art as well involved, and you know,
yeah,
it's quite creative.
yeah.
Inspiring.
It's self-expression.
And it's even funnier when now both of us have had couriers find it, and I had a
Yeah, have to deal with it.
ring me, little old lady from Nelson ring me and say, "I've got a parcel here for David Warner, but the address appears to be wrong. There's lots of pictures all over it."
Not good enough, Ryan. Not good enough at all. You're gonna
And
get
also,
banned from New Zealand Post.
it appears that Helen actually knows something about the England language.
About the
How
England.
do we?
Is
Well, I would say that's probably more about the Roman language, but that's okay.
just talking about the river that runs through the middle of London. Is that Roman?
London and Roman are not the same place.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Do you know what just happened to me? I
Isn't
was
it the River
thinking.
Thames?
You
Hold on.
farted
Isn't it
and you
the
shat
River
yourself?
Thames, not the River Thames? This
Bro.
is riveting. Riveting.
You're just making yourself look bad, let's be honest.
Anyway,
But no, I was just sitting there before. I was like, man, this is so weird. Why do we not have any listeners, and why is there no comments? But I just had the thing shut.
in private chat probably.
And because I'm like on the back end, I'm logged in different to normal, and it's like kind of different. It's in a different place to where it normally is. And yeah, so it turns out we have listeners. So hey guys, I didn't know anyone was here, and I probably would have called out some of the funny comments I can see, but too late. So
How do you
please
pronounce
leave more.
aluminium? I don't know.
Illuminati.
Close enough. So yeah, that's all good. But yeah, that's about it for that, I guess. We do have the listener mail segment. But I have some bad news. No one has sent us any listener mail, so we will just shimmy on by. But
Didn't we ask everyone to send us something on something last week? Like
Or something.
yeah, probably. But no one sent
I can't
anything,
remember.
so I didn't even really look at it.
Here's
Sucks.
here's the problem that I'm feeling right now. If we get through too much of this podcast, we're going to get onto the topic really quickly, and I think all of us are a little bit blank on the topic, so we might need
Yeah.
to.
Blang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just made up a new word.
Cool. No, I have stuff to say, so we'll just wing it, man.
Did you sort out our guest for the photography one? By the way, you said you were going to the weekend.
No, I didn't see this person, so
Okay, so maybe I need to message on them.
yeah.
Is that
What we
next Wednesday?
Sure. So what we're gonna do? I'll give a little teaser for the listeners. You naughty little listeners. But what we're gonna do?
He put a link to his OnlyFans down there as well, so you can
Yeah,
get
man.
into it.
But what we're gonna
subscribe.
do is I had one person ask me about it a while ago, and then it's something we're all interested in, is about photography, like fish photography. Talking about like how to do it better and all this kind of thing. The only problem is
How to do it.
none of us have any
Yeah.
idea what the hell's going on there. So
Yeah, our photos all look like they're taken with a potato. So
yeah, mine's just like a shaky video and that's it. So what we're doing is we're gonna try and get a guest. There's a person we know who is very good at that kind of thing, and so we're gonna try and get a guest to educate us. But we'll have to see how we go. But subscribe and you'll see it, please. We need your subscription so bad. So yeah, and then if you have what I was going to say before, listener mail. So we try to run this listener mail segment, but if we don't get that much listener mail, we just skip it. But what you can do is if you email us at podcast3idiots@gmail.com, we will definitely read through it and read it out, or like whatever you have. Like if it's a story, you want to tell, if you have a question, you want to ask, any sort of anything, really, it doesn't really matter. Send it in and we will look it up and you will be featured. You'll get a shout out. What more could you want? Thomas says he faxed it, so please don't fax us anything. This isn't 1993.
I'll
Do you know
check,
that's exactly that's what
I'll
my
go-
accountant did too.
the fax machine's by my pager, so I'll go and check it.
When I first set up my business, I was talking to my accountant. I said, "Do I need to get a fax number?" And he blatantly just looked at me and said, "Dude, it's not the 90s anymore. What do you need a fax machine for?" I was like, "Okay, I understand. Whatever." I thought business needed a fax machine.
Do you know, I don't even know if I've ever seen a fax machine before.
No surprises there.
That's how old you guys are.
Shut them down.
Have you ever rung the fax machine before, though?
I've heard of the concept, but I have never done it.
Because obviously there's a
even
phone
know
number for the
anyone
fax
with a fax
machine, and
machine
you
to
ring
ring.
it, and then you have to talk to it in like computer language, and it squeals at you if you ring the wrong number.
Sounds riveting.
Like the internet used to squeal at you.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Sure you do.
I do. So yeah, that's basically that. So moving on, I suppose we're going to talk about the next thing is the random question time. We need to come up with a better name for it,
Random question.
Random question.
Thank you.
That was lit, as the kids say. So
Also, Helen is saying that Britain is something to do with Roman. So it's very confusing.
yeah, the Romans invaded Britain a long time ago, man.
I must have forgotten that.
Guess that makes up for the British
I
invading
missed
every
that
other part.
in the news.
Yeah, I don't know. Go read a book. You were alive when that happened, surely. But so back to the random question. The random question is, is there any places around the world that you'd like to go before you die that you haven't been to yet?
Haven't we done this before?
We've done that one before.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and I said Nelson because I wanted to see how people lived 100 years ago.
Oh, well, think of another place then. One that you didn't say last time. At some sort of pace.
Some sort of place.
Well, being that my whole existence has basically not been out of New Zealand, I'd like to go anywhere that's not New Zealand. Preferably Mexico. I like the idea of Mexico.
What? Go see some axolotls and some what do they call it? Good-eared live bears and stuff.
Well, no, mainly to eat tacos and snort cocaine. But maybe.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Mexico. I like the the idea of spiciness and corn chips. Canada would be another place I'd like to go to visit. Canada. Japan is right on the top of my bucket list as well.
And would you hire Mario Karts and drive around Japan?
If I could, I would.
They do. They have Mario Karts you can hire and drive around Japan and Mario and Luigi.
I would. Yeah.
That's awesome,
all of the Scandinavian countries are right up there as well. So basically anywhere that's not New Zealand I'll be in for. But yeah, anything like that would be cool.
Nice. What about you, Ryan?
Maybe I'd go see the River Thames just to see if it's a real place or not.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Ryan?
I don't know. I like to go back to the States and do some more exploring there, because I've found when you go to, I've been to a couple of different places in the States, but everywhere you go is all different. It's like a different country within itself, that all the different states, they have different laws and different taxes, and the people are different, and some of them have way better guns at the gun range, and things like that. So
muscle cars there, you can go fill your heart with
all sorts of cool cars and stuff, and I don't know. But I'm a bit like Cam, just go. I'd like to just go and explore one day and just do all sorts of random shit and see stuff.
Can't go wrong.
Experience a different culture.
Yeah. yeah, just do stuff.
Boom. Can't argue with that. Just do stuff. Call it
Cam's
out.
going to get to a bit of an adventure next year when he comes up for the wedding, though. So that'll be good, eh, Cam? You'll be able to get out. It'll be like a whole new country, getting out of going to a different country.
I'll have
Going
you
north.
know that I'm also coming up in June.
What?
This
What
year.
for?
The Warriors.
They're going to lose.
Hey, fuck you. The
Are we
two
all
on the
going?
bounce, buddy.
Are we all going?
Two on the bounce. Two on the
I would
bounce.
rather not go to the Warriors, but what are you
Are
going
we
to do?
going? And then we have to get shirts for the other team and wear them, Cam.
Ugh,
Yeah, man.
Bronco. Gross. Why would you do that to yourself? Bleh.
I
You're
still
like the
only
worst thing.
support winners.
The
Well,
only problem
okay.
is that for any other team other than the Warriors, you have to actually pay for their merch. Most Warriors guys give their merch away because they suck so much. You find it in the second-hand stores, they give
no,
up on it.
they pay you to take it off their hands.
Yeah.
If you're listening on the podcast, Cam has a very, very. He looks like my
He
teacher
looks
from high school.
enthused. He
So
kind of looks like
very disappointed.
angry Neanderthal.
Hey, Ryan,
Oh,
how's that
Smash.
hair growing going for you?
Smash. Bang. I had a haircut yesterday.
You couldn't
Which
tell.
one?
I'm not sure why you wasted your money.
Which one? Yeah. I'm not trying to grow hair, so it doesn't matter. You're trying to make the Warriors win, so you suck.
I'm not trying to make the Warriors win. They're trying to make the Warriors win. I'm supporting them. Two different things. I want them to win, just like you want to be able to grow here.
Okay, this is the most anyone should ever talk about the Warriors on a fish podcast. So let's move on.
We've,
Well, I
we've,
was-
Otherwise,
we've educated everyone on the Warriors and also on the River teams, whatever.
see,
Honey.
nobody knows.
And
Nobody knows
and
what's
Romans.
Everyone knows.
And
Everyone
Romans.
just doesn't want to argue with you. But yeah, I guess for me, I'd also like to go to Canada. I'd like to watch my Blue Jays ideally win, but it seems unlikely. And I don't know where else I'd like to go. I'd like to go to. There was one other place I was thinking of. Oh, I'd like to go to like Jamaica or like Cuba or something. I reckon that'd be fun. But yeah, that's about it.
Jamaica and
Jamaica
Cuba.
me happy.
Yes.
Why do you want to go
Yeah,
to Jamaica?
USA for the sport would be awesome, eh? Like
Yeah.
I've always missed out on when I've gone over there to actually see any real big sporting events. Though it'd be cool to go to the ice hockey and just see the atmosphere and stuff. I'd love to go tailgating at a racing event and spend the whole weekend sitting there cooking food and fucking watching race cars and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Bro,
There's a
it's crazy.
during the year that you can go, that the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, and the NBL all play at the same time. So if you're going to plan a trip over there, do it in that tiny little, I think it's like a 6 or a 2 month block where they're all playing at the same time. That's what I do at
But you
least.
can only watch one of them if they go at the same time.
Did
The
you just say
seasons are
a tiny
playing-
little 6-month block?
6 week, 2 month.
Oh,
Really?
I don't
Isn't
think it's
that
quite
short?
that big. No, I think it's shorter than that.
What do you mean? The season? The entire season is
No,
only 2 months.
when all four competitions are overlapping with each other.
Ah,
So
I
you can go see them all on the same period of time.
Yeah. So you're at the end of basketball season, the beginning of ice hockey season, whatever, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah,
There is
okay.
crazy stuff. Americans do sports so much better than New Zealand, though. Like,
They do a lot
Funny
of
that
stuff,
there's more people in one
Yeah.
city than what there is all in our entire country.
no, not even that. There'll be like a Tuesday night baseball game in like, I don't know, some random little town. I can't remember I can't think of any of the small ones. And it'll be like bigger than anything that's ever happened at Eden Park ever.
The guy that does my website stuff, his college football stadium holds more people in it than what is in Nelson, in full stop.
Yeah, but that's not a high bar.
No, it's like 120,000 people stadium.
That's pretty
That is
awesome.
Of
quite
course,
even-
they do.
I don't think we've
Of
got
course
anything
they
that
do.
big.
do.
We don't have anything that big in New Zealand, do we?
No,
What's
we
that
don't even
biggest
have that many
stadium?
people in New Zealand. That's my point.
What is our biggest stadium? Are you Googling it?
Eden
Eden
Park's like
Park?
45.
Oh, whatever.
45,000,
That's a
really?
lie.
Like full capacity, but it's never been filled, really. Let's be honest.
Because I've heard that, like, old Tay Swift won't come here because we don't have a big enough stadium for her.
That makes
Makes
sense.
sense.
She's got to think of those $1 bucks, yo.
It can go up to
Exactly.
60,000 with temporary seating, apparently. Eden Park.
Damn.
There you go.
Tune in next week for more random sport chat.
Yeah. Shall we start 3 Idiots talk about New Zealand sport? Sounds good.
Let's do it. We're all about the Warriors and cricket.
As
Then Ryan will
long
just
as we don't
be
talk
left right
about
out.
cricket.
Yeah, man. But no, let's get back to it. So I guess the time for the main topic. So we got like 30 minutes to go. So
It's really late,
Oh,
let's roll the
yeah.
dice. We'll see how this goes. But oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So public aquariums, not just in New Zealand, but in general, it's something that a lot of people like would have as their first kind of exposure to fish as a concept. Really, like a lot more people will go than what will ever keep fish as a pet for themselves. So what we have in New Zealand is obviously relatively limited, but at least in Auckland, we've got probably the number one thing would be Kelly Tarleton's aquarium. So have you ever been there, Cam?
I have indeed. Not for a while,
Tell-
but I have been.
Tell me about it.
Well, I can't because I can't really remember. It was a long time ago.
Well, I will tell you about it, and then you tell me
Thank
what
you.
you think of it. So
Okay.
the
It was
main kind of
cold. I remember that.
yeah. So the main thing with them is, well, there's a few things. So like number one is very much mostly native stuff or New Zealand stuff, I guess is the way to put it. Like there's a few other things from around the world, but vast majority would be New Zealand stuff.
And
the
penguins.
main yes, there's penguins. They've got a few
is
reef
pronounced-
tanks.
It was pronounced pinglings. It's not
Penguin.
penguin. It's a pingling.
Penguin.
Pingling.
But yes, mostly New Zealand stuff.
Sounds
the
Chinese.
the biggest attraction is this like a big circle. It's like a conveyor belt for people.
It's
I don't know what you call it.
Tunnel.
Yeah, and there's like a conveyor
Basically
belt
a-
for people, and you stand
a
on it,
glass
and it goes
tunnel.
around. Yeah, and there's like two. It goes through like two big like. I mean, you probably wouldn't call them tanks, but like tanks, and underneath
Ponds.
you go along the bottom, and there's just like one of them's like a shark tank, really. So it's not like it's not massive sharks, but it's like good sized sharks you wouldn't want to see in the wild. And then the other one is
What
like
sort
a
of
bit
sharks
smaller fish. There's a few.
You got
There's
this
like
big massive stingrays and stuff too in there, eh?
yeah. So there's like 7 gill sharks. There is, I think is there a nurse shark or something? I don't know 100%.
All the
Is there a
peaceful ones.
hammerhead?
There is not a hammerhead.
Boring.
Yeah,
aggressive.
but they're big sharks. It's pretty cool. And so you go around there, and then the other side is where the more like, I guess you'd call them normal fish are, and there's small stingrays. So they got like, there's like kingfish. There's like a moray eel apparently, although I've never seen it, but you see the sign for it. They've got those little eagle rays. Well, I say little eagle rays, like they're pretty big, but
Eagle rays are
relative
cool.
sizes. Yeah, they're really cool.
Is the moray eel like the lion of Kelly Tarleton's? It's just you want to go see it, but it's so fucking lame when you never see it and never does anything.
I don't know. I've never seen it before, but they have this big sign that tells you all about them.
Yeah,
Sounds
they
like
can
a
tell you.
lion to the zoo.
The problem with it is it's a massive tank, and I think there's only one. So like, the bro's probably just sitting right there, but on the other side where you don't realize.
Also, they are an ambush predator, aren't they? That's designed to look like a rock.
Yeah. So I guess
That
you
way
could say it's
folks don't
doing its
have to
job.
eat it. Yeah.
But yeah, there's like all those kind of
Feel like
things. Which is
Slicko is
cool.
meant to look like a stick.
Yeah, pretty much. What are you doing, Ryan?
Ryan listening to Taylor Swift.
I was watching a video of someone flexing about their Lamborghini. Anyway.
God, I'm so glad that you're tuned into this podcast, man. Like
Maybe,
you are
yeah.
on point today.
This shows how much interest I have in public aquariums. But anyway,
Well, sure, whatever. But yeah, and then the rest of it is very much focused towards like native type of stuff. So they got like a big a freshwater eel kind of like river set up. They got like tuataras, all this kind of thing, and there's
Penguins.
something else. Octopus, penguins,
Penguins.
all this crazy stuff. Yes. Last time I went, they
Do
were
they
feeding the
still have
penguins. That
that
was pretty
ride
cool.
thing where you jump in it and go around the penguins?
Nah, you
They
just
got rid of
walk
that.
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn, that was cool when they had that.
Yeah, well, you can send in a complaint, I guess.
It was also crazy expensive to get in, eh?
I don't think so. It was like $30 or something like that.
No, I can't. I thought it was like 50 or 60. Been so
No, I
long
don't
since I've been there.
I don't think it's that. I think, well, it might be one of those ones, I think, actually, where Auckland, residents get the discount because it's like council funded partially or something, like the
Oh,
same
yeah.
as the zoo.
Yeah.
But I have no idea really. But
Typical
yeah, it's pretty cool.
facts.
You what?
While you said that, I remember another public type aquarium that I've been to just recently.
Hit me.
I went not long ago. I went to Loch Mara in the Marlborough Sounds, and it's not really a public aquarium, but it kind of is. They've got this old. It's not really that old. They've got a boat that they've docked in the reef type area, and they've made their own reef, so it doesn't go anywhere. And so it's got all the observation windows under the water. So you go underneath the water, and then all the natural wildlife come around the boat itself. And it's slowly but surely developed into like this full-on natural reef. And they've got all these fish hanging around and stingray. Well, there's stingrays and jellyfish and other cool stuff like that. So
how did they make the reef? Just put heaps of rocks down there or something? Or
yeah, so they I don't know how they locked the boat in. Maybe they put a hole in it so it got flooded. Or what have you? I don't know. That's talking shit. But yeah, anyway, and then it just naturally become a reef because
so they sunk the rock. They sunk the boat.
Yeah, but it's not sunk. Like you can feel it moving. Like whatever is that called? Mooring it? I'm not sure. I'm not a seaman.
I have no idea.
Should have been a seaman stain, but anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, like you can go underneath and you can feel the waves moving the boat a little bit, but it doesn't go anywhere.
So is the boat the reef, or is the boat the viewing platform?
The reef, the boat has become the reef because like the boat's in the water just off the shore. You sit there and then you go underneath it to observe it, and that's become a reef under the water.
Man, that's pretty cool.
It's incredibly cool.
Yeah, so that's I guess kind of more towards.
Where is that?
What would you say?
It's down the Marlborough Sounds.
Marlborough Sounds, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that would be kind of more towards the more of a modern way of thinking about things.
Yeah. So apparently they bought the boat. The original guys like we're going to take tourists out to see the wild stuff in the wild. And it didn't work very well, so they bought it and they're like, we're going to make the wildness come to us. So that's why they set up this reef, designed this reef thing for the fish and the wildlife to come into them.
Yeah.
And is that protected area, is it?
I don't think so.
There and stuff. Oh, no?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People just don't out of probably bad form.
There was so many fish there, and they had snapper there and crayfish and all sorts of stuff around it. They had a wee touch tank on the other side of it with like kinner and crabs and that kind of stuff. And then afterwards, they had like a little shore, and they had a couple of stingrays. They had an eagle ray come up and a stingray come up.
Oh, you put up a video of that. I saw it. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah,
it was really cool. So that's probably the most recent public aquarium type thing that I've been to, and it's a wild type aquarium.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of focused towards I guess the one of the main themes of this kind of thing, at least like I've never been to a zoo or a public aquarium outside of New Zealand, so like I have no idea, but the ones in New Zealand that I've kind of encountered in this space is all very much focused towards the conservation and like the protecting of species and things. Not so much, from what I gather from seeing stuff online of like the US maybe, or like the UK maybe, or different places like that. Not so much as a tourist attraction, like that kind of attraction comes secondary to the whatever kind of maybe breeding program they're doing, or whatever like veterinary stuff they're doing for things that gets injured, or educational purposes or that kind of thing. It seems very much pointed towards the more, nature conservation side of things, and that's probably why something like that is quite good, because it's a bit more, I guess, a wild sort of experience, rather than like you walk along the path, you see a such and such animal to the left, then such and such an animal next to it that would never be there, but who cares, it's separated, and then like that kind of, you just go and look. And obviously there are still attractions for many reasons, like education is good, and then obviously they have to make money to, the stuff is not free, so they got to make their money and everything like that. But it seems to be very much a different attitude for most of New Zealand type of attractions, from what I gather, at least.
Well, I've been to the aquarium in New Caledonia, in Noumea.
Tell us about it.
I've actually been 3 times. So,
What a humble guy.
what's that? But the Air Force, I went there for an Air Force trip, so I went to the aquarium, and then the Air Force did cheap flights there, so Kim and I went there for a holiday, and I went there with Kim, and then the Air Force did cheap flights, so we did a family holiday there, so I went there again. And that one was very much the same sort of thing.
So you're saying that war does pay? No.
Awkward.
Sure that yeah. Let's go to war.
Oh,
Well, that's what the Air Force is all about.
Brian's grumpy.
Where was I?
Typical
But
veteran.
that one
I have
was,
a question. Do you fly on an Air Force plane?
yes.
Air Force One.
Nice. Sounds fun. Okay, continue.
The first time, sometimes you fly over. It depends. When we flew over with the kids once, we had to go on a herc, which is like the cattle, the big rattly cargo nets and stuff, which was quite an experience. But then wearing earmuffs and stuff, so that was fun. But yeah, the aquarium. So the aquarium there. The cool thing about New Caledonia and this tourist area is you just take snorkels and stuff, and then you literally just swim off the beach and you're on coral reefs anyway. So like it's insane. You just literally. I was just out there every day with the kids, just snorkeling around, just seeing all the cool fish, all the big stuff, small stuff, Nemos, corals, all that stuff, right off the tourist beach, So it was real awesome. But that's what the showcasing there was, all of the native stuff. They also had nautilus, which are like these giant snail things that live really deep in the ocean, and they're actually the first aquarium in the world to breed them. So they're real deep water fish. They actually had to have them in a pressurized tank in this big dark room, and they're kind of like a giant ramshorn snail with like tentacles coming out of it that kind of swims, pulsing itself around. It's like a jellyfish type thing. It was real cool.
I've seen. They look like dinosaurs, eh?
Yeah. And they had a turtle rehabilitation center there too, because obviously. I don't know, obviously, but New Caledonia's got lots of turtles. We went out to the island and went swimming with the giant sea turtles and stuff, which was pretty cool. So
you said that in Niue.
That was in Noumea in New Caledonia.
Yeah, okay.
The capital of New Caledonia. Yeah. But they had like all the giant, massive tanks of all sorts of stuff, and like, it was real cool, real touristy. Really, obviously, a lot of investment went into it.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, because that turtle thing makes me think of another thing that happened to me once. It was probably like 5 years ago now. It would have been 4 or 5 years ago. My partner for my birthday bought me like a behind the scenes tour at Kelly Tarleton's. So that was pretty sick. And then we went, and then in the back like area they had basically one of those like pools that you buy from like the warehouse or whatever. Like, it was obviously better than the warehouse one, but it was like a pretty basic looking pool that you just like kind of inflatable almost, sits above ground. And they had in there a turtle, one of those big, like a freaking massive green sea turtle that had got hit by a boat. So obviously, I think it had lost one of its arms, I think it was, or leg maybe. And it wasn't like, it couldn't really swim that well, and it had like some other injuries from getting hit in that. So it was in this little pool, so it didn't, and it had a little like, they'd made like a false bottom out of like milk crates, those big plastic milk crates. that could like sit up and access the air without having to really swim because it couldn't swim that well. And obviously they got like vets and stuff there that was treating it for its injuries. And that was like they didn't even, we just got to see that because that was like in the back. That's where it was, but it wasn't like, I guess, as a touristy type thing of like, oh, look what we can do. They're just looking after this big thing that had unfortunately got hit by a boat, and they do like stuff like that quite a lot, which is pretty cool. So like saying you're swimming with the sea turtles is pretty quite cool. Makes me think of that. That was quite a cool experience.
But when we were over there, you do this, like you pay a fuckload of money to take this bus out to this island, and it's got this massive ass cool lighthouse, like the first post shop in the world or something, and you can send postcards home and stuff. Real touristy as fuck, free, a lot of free lunches included, and unlimited drinks, which you can guess where that went. And the island is covered in, got sea snakes all over it, those poisonous sea snakes. So you can just be chilling on the beach and they go slithering past you and stuff. They're everywhere and swimming around in the water and that.
Sounds terrifying.
And then you just snorkel out and you go on a glass bottom boat ride, and the turtles are all around the island. What's that?
So it turns out I was on mute. I was just talking to myself.
Yeah, and then you just swim out around the island, and eventually you'll find some turtles swimming around, and you can just snorkel around with them, and they're just doing their thing and buzzing around, and you just swim around with them. So that's quite cool.
I just googled New Caledonia because I had no idea where it was.
Oh yeah.
And I brought up like Google Maps or whatever it is. Did you know, just totally off topic, did you know that there is a South Sandwich Island?
South Sandwich Island.
South Sandwich Island. How funny of a name is that?
Did you know that New Caledonia is part of France?
Learning every day. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
So they all speak French over there, and everything is fucking expensive.
Does France own French Polynesia as well?
Nah, bro, it's just a coincidence.
Don't know that.
I think they used to, but yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The other thing that is probably the main thing a lot of our listeners will know when it comes to public aquariums is the Auckland Zoo has a few sort of aquatic situations going on, I guess you'd say. So
when my kids were younger, I used to take them to the bird barn and tell them it was the zoo. And that was a daily outing for us. They'd go, can we go to the zoo today, Dad? Yeah, we'll go to the zoo. We'll go to the bird barn and see all the fish. It's slightly different to a public aquarium, and we'd go see all the birds, and it was great.
Bird barn is pretty cool with the big turtle enclosure and stuff like that, though. Like
so
credit where credit's due.
Used to be a lot cool, but a lot cooler now. It's sort of not very good.
Is that because your kids have grown up and realised it's not actually the zoo?
Yeah, and also they've just kind of. Yeah, I don't know. Just a bit shit now. They got rid of half the tanks, and yeah.
Yep.
Just what it's. Yep.
Yeah. Well, no, the Auckland Zoo is the other kind of big aquatic attraction in New Zealand, I guess, or at least in Auckland, and that's pretty cool because I think maybe 6 months ago or something, they bred Asian arowanas, so that's pretty dope. They got like the pretty decent size like red tail golds in this big it's like technically a tank, but it's basically like a pond with a viewing area inside.
It's pretty cool.
Breeding the Asian arowanas is pretty awesome. Got some like gigantic rainbow fish. There's like an Australian rainbow fish tank, and man, they're not really rainbow fish. They're like snapper, basically. They're gigantic. You don't really realize how big they get. And the other thing that probably, I think, like, not to pick favorites, but they've got this other area that is, in my opinion, cooler that no one ever talks about. But they've got a native fish, like, kind of room, I guess you'd call it, where there's like, on the side there's like the kiwi thing, so like the kiwis running around to the side, and then you go around the corner and then there's like these native fish tanks. So they got like this big tank filled with like giant cockapoo. They're like pretty big, like 40 centimeters maybe.
Really? They get that big?
Yeah, well, some would say giant. if you will.
Mm.
I didn't obviously have a measuring tape with me, but you know they're like gigantic. And then they've got
Was that
what
what
else
she
do they
said
have?
as well?
No, it isn't. They had those little mudfish, and there's a few other bits and pieces. Oh, and they obviously had the big eel pond, I guess you would say. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And
Did
that's
they have
got,
Cora, the little freshwater crayfish things you're talking about?
don't think so. Not that I've seen, but
Why would they not
maybe.
have them? That's weird, eh?
Well, because they eat everything, I guess. So they need their own tank
They
and
can have their own tank. They've
probably
others do.
space.
They've got a little bit of space.
Yeah. But that's quite cool because, like, I mean, it goes back to what we were saying before, the real focus on, like, native, like, conservation. Oh, excuse me, that was gross. Because it's one that, like, no one really knows about. Like, no one really knows about native fish, to be honest, like, freshwater fish, to be honest. Most people wouldn't even, realize we have any native freshwater fish. So,
Some
being
people
able to
probably
see,
think that trout are a native fish.
yeah, exactly. So, it's quite cool to see, and it's obviously quite unique, I'd say. There's not many other places I'd know to go where you could see that kind of thing. And the other thing that I thought was real cool that I noticed was they have this big eel pond, right? It's like, I have no idea how big it is. It's probably like 5 meters. Oh no, like 8 meters wide and like 8 meters deep and like a meter, like front to back, and then a meter like top to bottom. So it's like ginormous. But they have like obviously the big eels, but there's heaps, like there'd be hundreds of tiny little like assorted native fish in that tank. So you got like little galactids and like little, well, the others were kind of like too small to even really tell. They're like obviously like fry. And I think they get washed in. I think it's like naturally. It must be like naturally fed. They must get washed in, or they just put them there and then they kind of bred themselves. But that was real
Strange,
cool to see.
because the eels don't eat them.
Nah, they're like they'll be like almost the same size as the eyes of these eels. So like probably the eels just like
Or maybe they eat
it would be
some.
so much
Can't
effort
catch
to
some.
catch them, and they're not get anything out of it. And obviously the eels will get fed.
What do eels eat in the wild? Do they eat fish, eh?
They eat
Anything
everything,
you
man.
can.
I saw this
Everyone's
one. Jeremy Wade, who does what's that show called? River Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the eel episode of that?
No.
Man, everybody, I'm giving you Three Idiots Talk Aquariums homework. Go on YouTube, look up River Monsters New Zealand eels. There's this video there that is honestly insane. He's like down south somewhere, I can't remember. But they get like they like get off a hunter, they get like the head of a deer or like the carcass of a deer or something. And they like put it in this little kind of stream, and then they set up all these like little hidden cameras to record it. And then they go away, and then overnight they're like doing their thing. They come back in the morning, there's like no deer left, basically, just like a bunch of bones. And the video of these eels just demolishing the deer is like terrifying.
Savage, man.
Don't watch it if you're going in the water anytime soon, kind of situation. It's just like you can't even see anything going on. There's just like slithering eels going all over, and they like grab on and like do that thing in crocodile does, where they like spin off and like rip
Twisting,
bits
yeah.
off. And it's just like
We've
the way
got
you
a,
describe it is it's like a swarm. It's crazy stuff, man.
We've got a river a little creek not too far away from us, and the old man takes my son for a walk down there and feeds the eels. He said the same thing. They're just terrifying. He said if people knew what was in that water, they would not let their small dogs anywhere near it.
Oh, 100%, man. They're so cool. They're like, it's so cool that we have these
But
things,
no,
and they're relatively easy
by
to
an
find.
eel, right? Do they bite people? They don't bite people, do they?
Yeah, they bite people. Definitely,
Really?
they bite people. I think I told the story before about how my granddad got bitten, and he's still got a scar like 60 years later.
There's some giant ones at that Lochmara, like huge girth on the things. Ginormous animals.
It's like a snake, basically, like a big snake.
Water snake.
Apparently, it feels like sandpaper.
Well, you can do our experiment, and I will watch. But yeah, that's a really cool one to see these massive eels. But yeah, and then in terms of like public aquarium displays in Auckland, the only other one I know of is what's that place called? Butterfly Creek, out like by the airport. But
Oh yeah,
honest, I haven't been there since I was little, so I don't remember. But
I was there
hear
about
that
a year ago.
you what? Sorry.
I was there about a year ago.
Oh, well, tell us about it. You'll have a more up to date knowledge than me.
When you walk in on the right hand side, there's this ginormous tank. It's like 20 foot long, maybe longer.
10
like
or
the size of
11,
a
10 or
wall.
11 meters, eh?
It's huge. It's ginormous, and they have some huge fish in there. All I remember is the clown loaches, because the other fish I think were dumb, like arowanas and stupid fish like that.
They used to have that as an African tank. It
Oh
was
wow!
awesome.
Yeah,
they had like cadangos and giraffes that were like 25 centimeters long. They were fucking massive. Never seen anything like it.
Proper room to swim. Yeah, so that was like the bigger fish. So I think there was lots of convicts and that sort of stuff in there, just a wee bit of a mix mash of everything. And then when you get into the butterfly enclosure itself, obviously it's really warm and heated. So all the bodies of water have got African cichlids in it, and you can look down on them, which I thought was quite a cool view of watching the Africans, particularly the males.
One should never look down on an African cichlid.
Once you look down, you can see like the males defending a wee territory, like a rock structure or like a plant pot, sort of pond lily sort of pot, and you can sort of see the males defending the territory, which I think is quite a cool view of what they do in the natural environment sort of scenario. So yeah, it's well worth the admission.
Man,
I've
that's
just
pretty
met
cool.
our photographer for next week and said, "You good for next Wednesday?" And he said, "Yeah, I have a job in the morning. That's it." He doesn't even know what he's good for yet.
Oh, good to hear. Well, we can sort that out. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And then they've got obviously the butterflies, and then they got, what else do they have? They have a crocodile, eh? Like a saltwater crocodile, don't they?
Yeah, and they've got dinosaurs too.
Say what?
They've got dinosaurs.
In the playground, there's dinosaurs.
Moving dinosaurs, like mechanical dinosaurs.
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool.
It's definitely well worth the admission to get into it. It's good fun.
I might. How about Cam? When you're in Auckland, we'll go. You can take me and show me around.
If I have time, we can do that.
And we'll vlog it. We'll vlog it for the
We'll vlog it. We'll vlog it for the socials.
Think of a name for our fans, but for the people who watch this show.
The idiots.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit harsh.
What's the grade below idiots? The morons?
Fruities. Our fish groupies.
Our fruities. All right. Well,
or fitches. Fish bitches.
Sweet as. The other thing I was wanting to say, so I've never been there, but we do have a national aquarium.
I've been there.
Like the official, holds the title kind of official national aquarium.
The one in Napier?
Yeah, Napier.
I thought that closed down.
I didn't think it did, but
I thought it did.
I think they got rid of some of their fish, but I don't think.
I went there as a.
Someone talk and I'll Google it.
I went there as a kid and saw like the dolphin. They actually did a proper dolphin show, and they had killer whales and all sorts of cool stuff. But they obviously ethically got rid of all them now.
And that's a good thing.
Stuff says it could be closed. This is in March this year.
This thing says that it is open.
We've got a photographer for next week, by the way.
Oh.
Do we need to wear lacy nicks?
Morning. Yeah, you can get some teasers for our OnlyFans.
Our side hustle.
We can get some of those pauses in there.
Yeah, I went to the Napier Aquarium about 5 years ago or so.
Tell me about your experience, because I've never been there. It's something I really want to do, but I've never been there.
What does it feel like at the start of this podcast? Like, man, I haven't been to any public aquariums, and all of a sudden I've been to heaps of them.
Do you know why? It's because you don't prep for the episodes, and then now you're like, oh yeah. So if you actually thought about the topics beforehand, you'd have something to talk about, knob.
Or maybe it's because you just triggered the right questions in me. So about 5 years ago, I did a video of it. I think it's on my YouTube channel, shameless plug.
What is your YouTube channel if I want to look it up?
The Fish Room NZ.
Sweet as.
From memory, it was quite seawater based, not freshwater based, but there was, from memory, a big tank with like silver dollars or something similar in it. There was a display that really stood out to me that, again, had the front viewing panel, and then up the back of it was like a full-on jungle type scene, and that sort of thing really appeals to me.
Me.
But yeah, it was predominantly from memory, saltwater stuff, New Zealand natives, as to be expected, and then there was a little bit of freshwater.
Was this the
Because
one?
they have a like a saltwater system where they take the water
Yeah. Pump it in, pump it out.
suck it from out in the ocean and then pump it out. So they've probably got the infrastructure there for a lot of saltwater stuff, right?
That's what Kelly Taltons does. They pull the water out the harbor and they put it through. It's awesome. They have like, I can't remember, it was like 8 massive like water tank sand filters, and they just blast it through these sand filters like over and over again, then pump it into the main system and then pump it out. So they don't even have to filter it, which is pretty dope.
Did you see? Also, they let school groups and kids and stuff sleep in the aquarium.
Yeah, I've
Some
heard that.
kids, and some kids sleep on like on the conveyor belt underneath the fucking tunnel tank with all the sharks swimming over top of them, which is awesome.
They should
Yeah.
let adults do that, man.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
You would.
We can host a Three Idiots party at Kelly Talton's.
Also, it looks like there's a fish show coming up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
maybe they were listening to our podcast and we talked about how there isn't one anymore, and they were like, "Hey, we can do this."
I thought about messaging them and saying we would do a Three Idiots extravaganza there for them.
We could do a live recording.
A bonanza.
Yeah.
With all the people. All three of
I
them.
think we're blowing a bit of smoke up our ass, boys. I don't think we're quite that popular. You reckon we'll be the main attraction?
No, but I'm sure 1 or 2 people will listen. That's all we need. So yeah, but no, that's I guess the wrap of our public aquarium thing. I mean, let's be honest, we could keep going, and I don't appreciate you guys shitting on my topics when it turns out they're pretty good. So I'll just put that out
Ryan shit on the topic, not me. I'm just here for the ride.
Fair enough.
That's pretty much my role here, is just to shit on the topics, isn't it? I thought that was what I'm here for.
I'm just waiting for us to do another catfish special.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different thing.
We can revisit it. It got knocked off of our top. For a long time, the Corridors and Catfish was the top performing episode, which was hilarious because it was just Cam talking and me and Ryan not really knowing anything about it. But it got knocked off by I think it got knocked off by Beginner Fish. So, what more could you want?
On the podcast?
On the top performing, Spotify.
And where can people find our podcast? Not the live recording that they're watching now.
Anywhere you want. Spotify, Pocket Cast, like any Amazon, any podcast player, in theory, unless I've broken any of them, should have it. So whatever your medium
What about
of choice, iHeartRadio, iTunes, whatever.
And are people aware that this is actually a physical audio podcast, not just a live recording that we do? Do people know that?
They probably do. But if you are listening on podcast, you can catch the live recordings. Or if you're on the other way around, you can re-listen. So either way, we've got options for everybody.
Also, there'll be a link up there for Cam Inbred's English lessons. So he's taking some one-on-one pronunciation sessions.
Roman lessons.
If you'd like to get some one-on-one Ram Sean and Thames pronunciation, just to polish that up before you go into any like a tea party.
I can also offer Spanish because I know they're correctly pronounced jalapenos. Just for the record.
There you go. So there you go. If anyone's interested in that, sponsored content right there.
Yeah, man.
$2.99 a month.
Yep. But we'll probably head off now. I have
Cam needs to go to the toilet. Yeah.
Attend to something. But yeah, sweet as. Thank you guys for listening. Love you very much. please subscribe. Please tell your friends. Tell your mom. Just set your work computer to play it when you're not there. Whatever you can do to help, I would really appreciate it. And Ryan will cry if you don't. So what are you
I'll
going to
probably
do?
cry if I do as well.
Yeah, just an emotional fella. But yeah, sweet as. Thank you very much, and see you later.
Right. Well, we'll let Cam go and enjoy his morning purge, and we'll talk
Attend
to
to
you
some
guys
business.
next week where we're talking about an exciting thing of photography. And
We'll have a special guest, so please listen.
well,
that will be
yeah,
fun.
maybe he's kind of said he's going to talk to you tomorrow or something about when he gets to fish.
Oh.
He doesn't want to talk to me about it. He wants to talk to you about it.
Fair enough.
So
Well,
I don't know.
if it's not him, we'll do a topic we do know about.
Also, I feel like I need to wear my glasses and get one of those. You want to wear my glasses like you guys are, you know, like you guys look so official,
Bro, I'm taking it serious.
intelligent.
Professional podcaster. Don't worry about it.
All right.
All right.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
See you all.